Okay. Okay. Everyone able to see my screen? Everyone?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So quickly recap what we discussed in the last classes.
Missing values.
Yes. Okay. So I'll tell you the names. I'll tell the names. Okay. Anil. Tell me, Anil, what is DLM option?
DLM is abbreviation is delimiter. We use it to it is the raw data to be separated by any other special character. So other than any blank spaces, so we in that area we can use DLM.
Yes, is to read the data. Read the data if the raw data is
Separated by any
separated by any special characters. Correct.
Yes.
Okay. Kishan, tell me, Kishan, what is DSD?
DSD is the delimiter separator data where we have any it's for the character value it gives us a space, and for the numeric variable it gives us a dot.
Missing value in between the records. Missing values in between the records we can.
When we have it, missing values in between the records, we use DSD option, correct? Yes.
Based on
So
the
DSD
DLM.
completely work
DSD.
based on your DLM option. DLM. We'll go to missing values means for character variables are missing. We're going to get a space. For numeric variable missings, we're going to get a dot. Okay. Manasa. Tell me, Manasa, what is flow over, miss over, and stopover?
When missing values are at the end of the record, we can get all of the three options.
When missing values at the
Values
end of
are,
the record.
yeah, we have to give that floor, missor, and stopover.
Okay. So what flower will do, what miss over will do, what stopover will do.
When missing values are at the end of the record, the floor will read the subsequent value.
Okay.
The
Read
default
the
nature of
subsequent-
the
Yeah, it
Hmm.
when missor option is there, so then we can get the character value space and numeric value dot like that whenever we give that missor option.
Okay. So it's a default behavior, correct? Yes. And by default, what it is doing, as I also said, whenever it finds a missing value at the end of the record, it reads the subsequent value, the next
Yeah.
value to read into the current variable. After that, it stops execution. Okay, good. What is miss over?
It replaces with the missing values. Like whenever we have the character variable, the space will be there. And whenever it is a numerical value, we will get the dot in that place.
Replaces with missing values.
Yeah.
Stopover.
It will stops execution. That's it. Whenever we have that missing value, then if we give that stopover option means then it will stops execution.
Whenever it finds a missing values at a particular record itself, it will stops execution. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So these are the input options we have. And one of the input option we discussed also, that is double try.
Do we have trunk over also, Darshan?
Yeah, trunk over also was there, but we won't use much trunk over. There's no much difference between trunk over and this flow over and
Okay.
stop over. And doesn't use nowadays. We stop using trunk over.
Okay. Okay.
You have, if you have, you can explore it. Trunk over also. I gave a notes, right? Book, right? There it is there. Trunk over is. Okay. Yeah. Yes, Balaji.
Yes, sir.
Tell me, Balaji, what is double trailing?
It end up the values like that. If you some data will continue on it.
What is continue on it?
In file statement which continue on the that.
File statements continue on it. No, I didn't understand. Can you elaborate?
With the end of the point.
When you will use double trailing option? When will means when how your data?
Like some data will be with the continue.
Some data will be in continue. What
At
is
the end
the
of
Data
the-
is kept in a sequential
some
manner,
data?
like in only one line. By
The
using
one
the
line
double
will be
trailing,
so
we
on.
can make a data set.
Reading multiple observation per record, sir.
Okay. Understand, Balaji, what he said?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Tell me again. Can you explain me?
Like persons names will like persons names and data will be show on the single observation. The multi observation will show on the output data with adding the double
Okay.
explanation mark.
Okay. How double trailing will work? Okay, I understand. Yes. When we have multiple observations in the code, okay, we'll use a double trailing option.
Yes, sir.
Okay. How it will work? How it will work? I gave an example as well, explain last class. Tell me how it will work. Why it is not working here and how it is working when you use a double trailing, how it is reading the 4 observations. Previously, when it not used double trailing, it did not work. Why?
Because this is a single line observation, sir. In 4 line data lines, 4 lines will be single line observation, sir.
Okay.
Per input in the data set, as per the input which we are giving the variable names, it will take the names in the data lines. If we give the 4 variables, then it will take the only 4 variables in from the data lines observation. So if we give the double training, then it will continue as per the input variables.
Okay. Okay. Up to somewhat fine. Still.
It will read end of the
Can
record.
anyone explain to me?
It will read an end of the record.
Anil?
Up to the end of the
Okay.
record.
Wait, Madhu. I'll tell you the
Yeah.
next. Anil,
Yeah.
tell me, Anil, what do you understand? How this double trailing is working?
Okay, so actually, initially you told, right? So we can give the observation in a single line, or we can create the syntax in a multiple lines. So here, if we give the observations in a single line for all 4 variables, so if we don't give the double trailing, so what it will do, right? So it won't recognize all the observations for 4 variables. So for the 5th variable, it will take the next coming observation into the current variable. So if we give the double trailing, so it will read the data until end. So whatever we gave in a data line, so it will read all the data and it will create the variables. Yeah, it will create the variables based on the observations which we have given until end of the line.
Okay, good, fine. So very simple. On input statement, for example, I gave 4 variables, only 4 records it will read. So here also same. If I give 4 variables, it's supposed to read until 4 only. After that, it will start, go to next observation, start reading. But we have to read until the end. This is end of the line. This is not end of the line, right? To read this end of the line, we are using double trailing option. So we are telling the SAS, after reading the 4 variables, don't immediately go to the next observation, next record. Read until end of the line. If read until end of the line, yes, this is also it will start reading. Account ID, customer name, account ID. Okay. So by default nature of an input statement, by default, what is the nature of an input statement? If you mention the 4 variables will read and go to next record and start reading. That is the nature of input statement. That nature we are making stop. Okay, change your nature because I am using a double trailing. With the double trailing, we are telling the SAS, okay, change your nature, read until this end of the line. Okay, after immediately reading the 4 variables, don't go to the next record. Okay. Clear? Just understand, okay? Understanding is important. Okay, even though if you know the concept, okay, for everyone I was telling, why I was asking every time questions, interviewer you have to explain to him, right? If you're able to explain only, you can understand whether you know the concept or you know the concept, but you cannot express it, you cannot explain to them, there's no use end of the day. Okay, you have to crack an interview. That's everyone motive. Okay. Okay, try to improvise day by day. So by end of the course, you will be there. Okay. So practice
sir.
the same way. Yeah.
Hello,
Yes.
Sudarshan sir.
Tell me more.
Sir, that if we missed one of the variable, then how can we write this double trailing statement, sir?
One of the variable.
You missed that variable.
This variable missed.
No, like that.
Observation.
You missed
amount,
observation. See, these are records. In the records, you have observation. These are the variables. Okay. Use
Yes,
the
sir.
terminology correctly. Okay. Now tell me. What you missed now? You missed observation.
In observation, you have missed one thing. And then how can we write it, sir?
You can't read this one like this now.
No, we cannot.
Your data is not separated by comma. Your
Okay.
data is not separated by any other special character. Okay. You cannot miss. You cannot read this data in this method.
Okay.
Okay. So there is another methods we have to read the data. Going forward, you can understand. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So infill options are done. So input options also done. Only single trailing is pending. This single trailing we'll discuss later. So today we'll discuss data set options. Okay. See the data set options. First is rename. Okay. See, my requirement is in a SAS self library, there's a class data set is there. Okay. From this class data set, you have to create a new data set. From this class data set, you have to create a new data set. In the data set, change the variable name. Here sex is the rate. Change this variable name as a gender. How can I change? Okay. To change the variable names, you are going to use rename. Rename, use it to rename simply. Rename, use it to rename the variable names. Okay. Rename the variable names. Okay. This rename, I can use it as a statement I can use, as an option also I can use. As a statement, as an option, in both the ways I can use it. Okay. First, I'll show you how to use it as a statement. Okay. So here, what is our requirement from your SAS self class dataset? You have to create a new dataset. While creating, you have to change the variable name from sex to gender. Means in your new output dataset, I need a variable name as a gender, not as a sex. Okay. See, data, some class 1 dataset I'm creating. From where? From your SAS self class dataset. Okay. From SAS self dataset to class 1 dataset you are creating. So by default, it will come and create in the work library. Correct. So what I want to rename your sex variable to the gender. Now run the program. See the log. There are 19 observations you are reading from the SAS class dataset. Class 1 dataset is created, where in the by default it will create in the work library. Now you see in this class 1 dataset, you rename your sex to the gender. Okay, simple way. In your input dataset, your variable name is sex, but in your output dataset, you change the variable name to gender. You just copy it, but while copying, you change the variable name from sex to gender. Okay, set is the copy command. Now, same rename, I can use it as an option as well, as a dataset option. Okay, same. For example, class 2 dataset I'm creating. Class is my input dataset. Okay, now see, rename as an option I'm using. Rename equal to, open a bracket. So you want to rename sex to the gender. Okay. You are renaming sex to the gender. This is the dataset option. See, you are right in a dataset line. It's a dataset option. Simple. Previously, in file option means in file line you are writing. Input option means input line you are writing. Now, dataset option means you'll write in a dataset line. Data line. As an option, you have to use like this. Rename equal to, open a bracket, your old variable name equal to new variable name. Okay, both the ways you can write it. See, sorry, something error. Yes, my lib name was wrong, spelling mistake. Okay, it is as help. On the program, see the log. Class 2 dataset is created, 19 observation, 5 variables. Now check here. Sex to gender. Changed. So this is how we can use rename as a statement. You can use rename as an option also. You can use both will give the same output. Okay. Not only one variable at a time. You can also rename multiple variables also at a time. For example, in your data set, as sex to gender, right? Similarly, change the name variable as also to full name. Change the variable name to full name, sex to gender. At a time, 2 variables, 3 variables, 10 number of variables also, you can change it. See? So previously, you renamed only sex to the gender. Now see, name variable is there. I want to rename as a full name. Full underscore name. So at a time, 2 variable names you are changing. Okay. Name to the full name, sex to the gender. So at a time, we can rename one variable and multiple variables also. So you can keep on adding here. How many variables you want to rename. Similarly, in an option as well, same way. You can rename one variable and you can rename multiple variables also. Okay.
Sudarshan, can we able to change the existing data set? Like instead of creating a new data set, if we have only one data set, so can we able to change that one directly?
We can change it. Input data set name, output data set name, you give the same name. For
Okay.
example, now your class 1 is your input data set.
Mhm.
For example, age variable you want to change, right? For example,
Yeah.
suppose age means, let us suppose you want to change something. Class 1 data set is there. Set class 1 only. Input data set and output data set name, you give same name. Same thing will
Okay.
happen. You can directly change, right? Rename is equal to what you want to rename. Like age is there, like age new.
Okay. But if you want to, so we have to use only as an option, right? In this case, we can't use as a statement.
No, we can use
like-
it as a statement as well. Save. Both will work same way, right? For example, class 2 dataset I'm taking. In a class 2 dataset, I want to rename age to age underscore name. Both input dataset name, output dataset name, you are doing same. Rename age to age underscore name. Your class 2 dataset you are reading. Again, you are creating the class 2 dataset. It contains age underscore name. See?
Okay, got it.
Very simple. You can do it for your understanding purpose. Every time I'm creating a new dataset.
Okay.
If you want to override the existing dataset, you can override it. Okay. See, you're reading class 2, then again you're writing into a new dataset. That new dataset may be of same dataset name, or you can give a different name. You're reading class 1 and you're writing into a new dataset. The new dataset name I gave class 1 only, so it is override. Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Fine.
Hey, sorry, I have a quick question.
Yeah, please.
What's the could you walk over the difference between statement and option again?
Okay. So I haven't I haven't discussed actually difference between option and statement. Okay. I was telling rename, I can use it as a statement, I can use it as an option as well. Okay.
So what does it mean?
What is it? See, both will give the same output, correct? Even if I use as an statement, even if you give as an option as well, you will get the same output. Output wise, there is no difference. Okay. Okay. Okay, little, if you for others did not understand also, no problem. I'll tell you the concept actually. See, understand what is the difference between statement and an option. Okay. Statement, if you observe, okay. If you observe here, statement as an option. This is statement, right? Statement will work while reading the data. So while you are reading from class 2, for example, let me show you in the above different data set names are there. Okay. See, SAS self class renaming sex to gender. Okay. So what will happen while reading itself? While reading from the SAS self only, it will rename the sex to gender. Then it will copy to a new data set called class 1. That is while reading itself, means this rename will work on your input data set only. It will apply on your input data set. That is called SAS self class. Okay. Now when you use as an option, first it will copy SAS self class data, it will copy to the class 2 data set. It will copy. But where this rename will happen, rename will work on your output data set. What is your output data set? You're on your class 2 data set, this rename will apply. After writing. Clear? Rename as a statement when you use, while reading the data, it will apply from on your input data set. option will work on your output data set while you're writing. Okay. Too early to understand this point while reading, while writing. Okay. Going forward, you'll understand what is happening while reading, what is happening while writing. Okay. That's the reason I won't tell you, I won't discuss that point, the difference between option and statement. Going forward, when you start practicing, right, you will understand automatically. Okay. Clear?
Can we use the same option for observations as well, or only for it is for only variables?
Clearly, I was telling that it's only variables.
Okay. Okay.
It's a variable. To rename the variable names. Okay. Okay. Clear? Any doubts? So someone asked the difference between option and statement. At least something you understand? Clear?
Yep.
Okay.
Hi, sir. Swati here.
Fine. Tell me, Swati.
Yes. Can we change this? Can we use this rename statement to change the like a table name, the class 1, class 2, rather than the like columns in the table?
Okay. 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 For example, dataset name was class 1. Want to change the class 1 as a Swati. Dataset name you want to change as a Swati or Swanti or class 3. Correct? Dataset name you want to change. That's what you're meaning?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
You cannot change. Okay. Dataset names we can change it. We have in other things. Okay. We cannot change the dataset name using rename. Rename will work while you're reading. Okay. While you're reading from your input dataset, while you're writing into a new dataset, you are applying on this one. So this rename will work only on the variable names. These are the variable names, right? On a variable names changing only, we'll use a rename. Okay. If you want to change the dataset names, yes, we have different concept called prog datasets are there. At that time I'll show you. Okay. There we have separate procedure for prog datasets. There you can change the dataset names.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Clear, Swati?
Yes, clear.
Okay. Fine. So that's it for rename. Rename is to renaming the variable names. Next. Keep and drop. Okay. Keep and drop. Okay. So let's assume take my data. This is my input data set. From this data set, you have to create a new output data set. In my output data set, I need only sex and age variables alone. Or else I need only name, height, weight variables alone. Or else I need only name, sex, age variables alone. So I need only limited number of variables from my input data set. So while creating your output data set, I don't want all the variable names. I need only limited number of variables. That time use keep statement. Keep use it to keep the required variables. Keep the required variables in the output data set. Output data set. Okay. First we'll discuss keep, then we'll go to drop. Okay. Keep use it to keep the required variables in the output data set. So here also same way, keep I can use it as a statement and also I can use it as an option as well. How to use it as a statement? Okay. Data. Some class 3 data set I'm using. Set that class is my input data set. So what is my requirement? Let us assume my requirement is I need only name, sex, age. These 3 variables are enough in my output data set. That time, just keep mention those variables, which are variables you want to keep in your output data set. Mention on the keep statement, those variables only will come in our output data set. Name, sex, age. So on a keep statement, you mentioned these three variables. Only these three variables only will come in your output data set. Okay. Keep as a statement I'm using. There are 19 observations. 19 observations, three variables are there. See, only three variables are created. Name, sex, age. Whereas previously in your input data set, you have six variables. From six variables, so five variables are there. From five variables, you read only three variables. Okay. Next. Here, keep as a statement I used. Now keep as an option also I can use it. Data class verb set class. Keep as an option, right? It's a data set option. So can I write it here? Open a bracket. Keep is equal to which are the variables you want to keep: name, sex, age. Name, sex, age. Only these three variables will come in the output data set. Okay. Class for data set is created. Now again, 19 observation, only three variables are came. What are the three variables? Name, sex, age. So this is, you can use it as an option. Here you can use as a statement. Both will give the same output. Whichever will use, nothing wrong. No one will ask, you have to use statement or you have to use an option. End of the day, they require output data set. So which one will use, no one will ask. Whichever you are comfortable, you can use that one. Okay.
This is only for variables, right? Again, required
Again, for
variables.
variables only. I haven't discussed about option. I'll come to options as well. Okay.
Okay.
Again, only keep the required variables. Again, we are discussing on a variables. Okay. Now drop is opposite to the keep. Use it to drop the variables which are not required. Use it to drop the variables which are not required in the output data set. Okay. Here name, sex, age, height, weight. 5 variables are there. In my output data set, I don't want sex and age variables. I don't want. That time, I can drop those variables. I don't want a height variable. I don't want the age variable. Like that. Whenever, whichever variables you don't want, you can drop. So let us assume I don't want sex and age variables. What can I do it? See, I can drop those variables. So I can do it using as a statement, as an option as well. Similar to keep only. Okay. So first as a statement. Data, some test data set I'm creating. Class 4 reliability, class 5. Anything data set name I can give anything. Sex cell dot class. Okay, I can drop sex variable and age variable. I don't want these two variables in my output data set. So if I drop sex and age variables means remaining three variables will come in the output data set, correct? Name, height, weight. See, you drop the two variables. So in the 5, so remaining three variables came into output data set. 19 observations, three variables. Where in the work library, class 5 data set is created. Name, height, weight. You dropped a sex and age variable. Okay, clear? Next. Next as an option as well. Data class 6 sets as l dot plus run. As an option, right? So drop equal to, so which variables you want to drop, mention those variables here. Clear? So the log is dropping sex and age variable. Done? Clear? So this is how we can use keep and drop. Keep used to keep the required variables. Drop used to drop the which variables are not required. Okay. Clear both? Keep and drop.
Sir,
Yeah.
if you observations, how to drop it, sir?
No, observations haven't discussed. Discussing only variables. Okay.
Okay, sir.
The next thing is observations. Here it is clear, right? Keep and drop. Any doubts? Anyone?
Sir, in single statement, we can write two options, sir.
In a single statement, you can write it two options. Good. You can write
Like
it.
keep and renaming of sex like a gender.
Yes, you can write it. For example, renaming. Open a bracket. You want to rename name to full name. Okay. Renaming name to full name, and you also are dropping sex and age. At a time, two options you can use it. 2, 3, 4. You know how many options you want, you can use it. See, you rename to name to full name, and you also dropped sex and age. Okay.
Yeah. It will work for both statement as well as options also.
Yes, it will also work the same. So you drop also, you can give it as a statement also.
Right.
Two statements and two options also you can give, no problem. Keep your writing. Rename also you can write it. Okay. If statement and rename statement, separate statements you are right. See, you are keeping name and sex and you are renaming name to full name. Clear? Did anyone have anything? Okay. Next we'll move to first ups and ops. Okay. See, till now what we discussed, which are variables are required, which are variables are not required, we are keeping and we are dropping. Now we'll come to observations now. For example, there are 19 observations are there. I need only first 10 observations in my output data set, or else some 10th to 15th observations I need in my output data set, or else first 5 observations, or else last 5 observations, or else from 6th to 12th observation. Like this, to keep the required observations, we're going to use first ups and ops. Okay. I'll give a couple of examples. Now from that examples, understand how the first ups and ops is working. Okay, and let me know. So you guys have to tell me the definition, what is first ups doing, what is ops doing. Okay, clear? Understand how that output is coming. Based on that, you tell me. Data, some test data is completing. Sets as cellular class. Remember, always this first ups and ops you have to use on a set statement. First ups is equal to 1, ops is equal to 2. Okay. First ops is equal to 1, ops is equal to 2. So this is my input data set. I'm using first ops is equal to 1, ops is equal to 2. Run the program. See the log. 2 observations you are reading from SAS class data set. The test data set is created. It contains 2 observations, 5 variables. See, what are those 2 observations? Alfred and Alias.
Actually,
Alfred
I'm
and
able to
Alias.
see the screen, yeah.
Alfred and Alias. First 2 observations came. Here, what is first ops is doing? What is ops is doing? This is my input data set. And input data set, I apply first ops is equal to 1, ops is equal to 2. I got output data set like this. What first ops is doing? What ops is doing?
It's like indexing from the first variable observation we will take, and how many observations we have to take is ops.
Okay.
Specifying a statement to start, where to start reading and where to close the reading, sir.
Okay. So actually, 2 different. Her statement and your statement was different. I'll tell you what she is telling. She is telling how many observations. For example, how many means if I mention ops is equal to 10 means 10 observations she has to read. You are telling up to which observation. For example, if you mention 10, up to 10th observation it will read. So there is a difference actually. Okay, which one is correct? I'll give a couple more examples. Okay, then you'll get a clear clarity. So I'm using first ops is equal to 3 this time. I'm not using ops itself. So this is my. There are 17 observations you're reading. 17 observations only keep. 17 observations. What is the input data set? So observe here, I used the first ops is equal to 3. So this is my input data set. So this is my output data set. What happening? Tell me. Student class, that is my input observation. Here
So
19
from third
observation.
observation, the output is
Full end observation.
First ops is equal to 3 I give. So what is that meaning?
You
so
have
from the
to-
third
you are saying to
observation, it
start
is
with
reading.
third observation.
Third observation.
It's reading from the third observation, correct? First ops is equal to 3 gives. So first ops is equal to Barber. So from the Barber to Williams, it's reading. Correct? Clear, everyone? So what first ops is doing? From which observation you need to read? That it will be. If you mention first ops is equal to 5 means it will start reading from the 5th observation. If I mention first ops is equal to 10 means it will start reading from the 10th observation. Clear? What first ops is doing, everyone? So how can I define first ops? From which observation I need to read? From which observation need to read? Okay, clear now, everyone? Okay, now understand what is first ops is doing. Okay. Now, for example, if I mention ops is equal to 4. Ops is equal to 4. So this is my input data set. Okay, let me take my output data set test 2. When I use ops is equal to 4, what happened?
Only first 4 observations were there.
So this is my input data set and this is my output data set. When I use ops is equal to 4, what happened?
stops reading at fourth observation.
Stops reading at fourth observation. Okay. That's it.
Yeah.
Everyone will be in the same page. It stops reading at fourth observation. It is reading
Four
Four-
observations. It's reading four
Huh?
observations. 1
It
to
is
4.
reading 4 observations. Huh? So one thing was clear, it is starting from the first. When I did not give a first stops, it start reading from the first observation. Correct? Previously also, when I did not give a ops, it reads until the last observation. Correct? It reads until the starting of last observation. So when I did not give the ops, is reading up to last. When I did not give the first ops, it's reading from the first. Okay, that point was clear. Okay. Let me give one more also to more clear. Now, first ops is equal to 2, ops is equal to 4. Now, if you tell this one is correct, then your understanding is correct. First, let me type the input data set.